What's going on, folks? Hope you're having a wonderful night or day. Welcome back to the party as always. Fractured Online, a game that I have covered on this channel before, as you probably know, has actually been purchased by another company called Happy Cauldron Games, and the team at Happy Cauldron Games actually reached out to me as well as other people to promote this change and talk about the acquisition. The first thing you need to know is that the game was purchased from Dynamite Studios, which had Jacopo as the head founder, and he, alongside the co-founder, will be joining underneath Happy Cauldron Games, alongside fresh talent, including a dedicated community manager. It's also stated in the article itself talking about this that some of the former employees in Dynamite Studios were also going to be joining and working at Happy Cauldron Games as employees. Now, the reason for this is it's no secret that Fractured Online has been through its fair share of controversies and changes. At one point, GameGo was the publisher of the game, which a large portion of the gaming community did not like. There was also financial hurdles the team encountered. They even stated that for the last 2 years, because they barely earned enough money to pay their employees, Jacopo and two other people on the team were actually working full-time unpaid. One portion I want to highlight before I talk about my Q&A with the team is the upcoming changes section of the article. It states that the team at Dynamite Studios has always been very small for such an ambitious game, and the situation worsened at the end of 2022 after the breakup with their publisher. Because of this, they've had to make several tough choices during development. Some features were cut entirely, others were simplified, and some were released in a half-finished state to be improved later on, and never actually completed. Now, with the proper financial backing, they have the opportunity to revisit many of those decisions. Some features will just be improved, while others might see a complete overhaul, but always with the same goal in mind, which is delivering a sandbox MMORPG that PvE and PvP players alike can call home. They also stated that at the end of January, they officially started porting Fractured Online to a new backend engine / hosting platform called Coherence. Coherence is an innovative multiplayer technology that will allow them to create content more easily, particularly when it comes to instance content like dungeons, something that was nearly impossible with their previous tech, which is good to hear because that was one thing that I was really excited to see. They also state that please be aware that their old backend engine, much like Coherence, was deeply embedded in the game's codebase. While switching this isn't as drastic as, say, moving from Unity to Unreal, it still requires rewriting a large portion of the game's code, a process that will take months of hard work. They didn't make this transition at the end of 2022 because Coherence, which was the only really viable solution, wasn't mature enough back then, and due to their usual lack of resources. Now with the right backing, they can make it happen, and they promise you it will do so much good for the game. The Q&A that I had with the team at Happy Cauldron Games started off with the first question: with the acquisition, are there any plans to make changes to the roadmap? Will any of these features be added or deleted, or now out-prioritize the others? Their response is yes, the current roadmap is being remade and they'll be sharing their new roadmap as they finish their design, planning, and scoping phase in the next couple of weeks. They can share that finishing relevant migration to Coherence is priority number 1. The second question was, are there any plans to change major systems of the game, such as crafting, PvE, PvP combat, progression, etc.? They state that yes, these topics are under current discussion, and as these solidify, they will share and collect feedback. My next question was, are there any plans for new weapons / classes to be added in the near future? Which their response was weapons and classes could look and feel drastically different in the reboot / relaunch, which sounds like they don't have any plans for adding any new ones at the moment, but that they could change a lot about how the current ones feel in the reboot. The next question was, are there any changes that will be happening in the game's monetization system, and will seasons still be a concept going forward? In the reply, they said that seasons for PvP they do like, but they want to carefully plan this out in the new existence of Fractured Online, and monetization is currently being discussed, which I'm very curious to know what that's going to be. I then asked, will there be any future external changes to the game in terms of website, logo, or concept art / screenshots? They said that yes, they're planning to make multiple changes to the website. They already have a new concept art and may try adjusting the logo, but they do like the detailed Fractured logo currently. But they say that maybe there'll be some text under the Fractured Online, which, just to think about it, if they do decide to do that, it sounds like it might be something like Fractured Online Reborn. My next question was, do you believe there might be a possibility for a mobile or console launch in the future for Fractured? But they said that at this time there's currently no plans for mobile or console. I then jumped a little bit into the Kickstarter stuff by asking, will the Kickstarter / backer pledge rewards still be implemented / granted? Are there any that you believe at this current time may not be able to be delivered? They said that they are working through all the pledge options, what those gaps are, and what can be done. The one they do not see moving forward is the developer forums. They prefer communication to be broad and do not believe in getting communication for the masses behind a paywall. There will always be topics and details not shared with the broader community and internal to the team or testers, but any other gates need to be careful, otherwise they can end up having communication gaps. My next question was, are there any plans to change the story of Fractured, add voice acting and cinematics, or would that be something that would be considered in the future? Their reply is that they're working on finding voice actors for the 5 gods. Those are gods that you'll find in game. What they can share is that the team has much more world setting and lore than ever shared before. Another question I had was, are there any plans to change the engine from being Unity in the future? They say, coming from the Unreal Engine space and being a fan of Epic Games' Unreal development teams, they can say that the current Fractured Online existence will stay in Unity. Changing this much code, tooling, and assets will not help it to be successful, but truth be told, the engine does not hold games back from being successful, though they can definitely help. And they gave the example of V Rising from Stunlock Studios and how they iterated on their assets and projects and found amazing success in that game. Another question was, what do you suspect may be the most difficult systems to improve or implement or take the longest to design going forward? They said core progression because of all the various game loops in a sandbox game. My next question was, will there be any changes to the server hosting / securities of the game? To which they said, yes, we are looking to redesign the architecture to support a much larger player base in a secured manner. How that is fleshed out in more detail, they'll be sharing over the coming weeks. My next question was, what do you feel will be your first few priorities while taking over Fractured Online from the previous team? And they said their first priority will be to get a better relationship with the community, understand the existing systems, and how they can ensure design changes to make Fractured Online feel refreshed and renewed. And as the last question, I asked if they felt like there was anything that might be good to add, and they said that they'll be doing a wipe, shutdown, and relaunch, which would be huge. There are many factors for this, but the key reason is that progression across the board will be radically different, and systems progression will not map to the new designs. So that's going to be super interesting because that means that everything we've done from the Steam relaunch until now will be wiped alongside that old server that people had beforehand. I'm very curious to see how this is going to go, but let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Have a great rest of your day, folks, and farewell.